Chapter 1071. Selling Immortal Goo. Boom, boom, boom. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Rocks were sent flying. Within the dust cloud, Ing Wuxie opened his mouth, growling. His growl could not be heard by ears, but the three central continent Goo immortals attacking them shook. Their souls were also shaking intensely. Oh no. This is a soul path immortal killer move. The three central continent Goo immortals quickly put up their defenses. Retreat. Using this prime opportunity, Ing Wuxie called this out as he led Tai Bai Yun Sheng and He Lu Lan to fly away. The central continent Goo immortals soon regained their senses, but Ing Wuxie and the rest were nowhere to be seen. What soul path killer move is this? Amazing. At that moment, I felt that my soul was going to dissipate from the tremors alone. These three Goo immortals are from northern plains based on their aura. They are so secretive and mysterious. Who are they? They actually appeared in Earth Abyss, the territory of our ancient soul sect. Are they related to the giant cave-in that happened earlier? The three central continent Goo immortals had grim expressions as they communicated while healing their injuries. I have already sent this information to the sect. We are sending reinforcements now. Chase. They are all hit by my immortal killer move. I can sense them. They cannot escape. The three central continent Goo immortals stabilized their injuries and quickly chased after them. After chasing them for a while, the sensation vanished. The leading central continent Goo immortal was troubled. Strange. My immortal killer move was created several years ago. It can trace people. Few know about it. How did they dispel it? There are many types of immortal Goo. Through different combinations, killer moves are created. Goo immortals have many different methods. They are uncountable in number. Maybe the other party happened to have a way to counter your immortal killer move. This is possible but unlikely. In my opinion, it might not be dispelled, but only temporarily suppressed. Maybe they used a certain method to conceal themselves. The leader of the three immortals said, "We chased them here, but the immortal killer move's connection vanished. There must be a reason. Did they enter someone else's immortal aperture?" An immortal aperture was a small world independent of the 5 regions and 9 heavens. When fate escapees live in blessed lands and grotto heavens, they can avoid heaven overseeing towers detection. If Ing Wuxie, who was hit, entered someone else's immortal aperture, the investigative method of the leader of the three immortals would not work, but entering someone else's immortal aperture was very rare in the Goo immortal world. Firstly, the immortal aperture was extremely important in a Goo immortal's cultivation. Few would allow others inside. Secondly, there was a drawback to this. The immortal apertures of Goo immortals had their respective Dao marks. By entering another person's immortal aperture, their Dao marks would clash. They would interfere with, obstruct, or even reject and consume each other. The actual expenditure would depend on the situation itself. Normally speaking, a larger aperture storing a smaller one was more stable. Even if a smaller one was storing a bigger one, as long as their strengths were not far apart, the immortal aperture could contain Goo immortals. But they would suffer losses in one way or another. If the immortal aperture was placed outside and was connected to the heaven and earth chi, they would be a part of the 5 regions world. The immortal aperture would be far more stable and could contain much more, or even higher cultivation level Goo immortals. If the person entering the immortal aperture had too high of a cultivation level and too many Dao marks, they might cause the immortal aperture to detonate. Like the fragment worlds of the immemorial 9 heavens, only people of a certain cultivation level could explore it. If they were too strong, they could not enter. Forcefully going in would just destroy the small world. There was also a special situation. It was regarding apertures of immortal zombies. Everyone knew that an immortal zombie's immortal aperture was a dead land. The time inside was the same as the outside world, and the space inside was constantly crumbling. It could be seen as the Dao marks in the immortal aperture breaking apart. It was the process where they returned to the body. Thus, even if an immortal zombie's dead aperture enters a Goo immortal, there would not be any Dao mark resistance. The only problem would be that the dead land would crumble more quickly, and the Dao marks would return to the zombie body at a faster rate. The leader of the three immortals had anticipated this situation. Thus, he made Ing Wuxie, Tai Bai Yun Sheng, and He Lu Lan all afflicted by his immortal killer move. No matter who entered which immortal aperture, one person would be left. They would be detected. The leader of the three immortals suddenly had a thought. Don't tell me. Someone placed their immortal aperture while the other two entered the immortal aperture along with them? It is easy for a Gu immortal to regather their immortal aperture, but placing it down takes time. There would be a commotion. How can they do it so quickly without making a disturbance? But Gu immortals have countless methods. There are all sorts of geniuses in this world. They might have a certain method to quickly place down the immortal aperture. This central continent Gu immortal thought a lot, but could not discern anything relevant. But this did not affect his actions. My connection was severed here. Rather than chasing them endlessly, I should stay here and investigate, maintaining the area and letting our wisdom path Gu immortals in the sect deduce. The central continent Gu immortal said. His suggestion was well received. The other two nodded without objecting. They are not leaving. It seems they are staying here. Inside the Super Gu formation, Tai Bai Yunsheng looked outside and sighed. These three rank 7 Gu immortals are from Ancient Soul Sect, sent here to investigate the huge cave-in. Master, it was fortunate that you could escape. Please heal your injuries. Shi Nu urged. He Lulan sank into silence. Ing Wuxie's expression was very ugly. He said in a hoarse voice, "To think that 3 Gu immortals are waiting here for me." He had decided to make a sacrifice to protect his major interests, but to think that shortly after leaving, these 3 Ancient Soul Sect Gu immortals appeared and fought with them. Ing Wuxie and the rest were outmatched. They could only return to the Super Gu formation. With the concealment of the Super Gu formation, the immortal killer move that was used on He Lulan and the others became temporarily ineffective. The 3 rank 7 Gu immortals from Ancient Soul Sect were flying above the Super Gu formation, but because the Super Gu formation was extraordinary, it not only concealed them, but also concealed all their aura. Being in phantom form, it did not have any physical state. The 3 central continent Gu immortals could not detect anything. What do we do now? He Lulan thought to herself, looking at Ing Wuxie with an inquisitive gaze. Ing Wuxie turned his face around. His gaze flickered uncertainly. After thinking about it, he made up his mind. He gritted his teeth. In this desperate situation, I can only do this. A moment later, in Treasure Yellow Heaven, one pillar of treasure light shot into the sky. It was thick and large, attracting countless gazes the moment it appeared. What kind of treasure can lead to such amazing treasure light? Immortal Gu. It's an immortal Gu. Someone is using Treasure Yellow Heaven to transport immortal Gu again? So extravagant. Countless wills and Gu immortals who happened to be around were talking about it. This familiar scene made them think of earlier, when Lang Yalan's spirit used Treasure Yellow Heaven to send Fang Yuan his sword path immortal Gu. But soon, the commotion exploded among the people. The Gu immortals will publicly announce. This immortal Gu was to be sold openly. Anyone could buy it. But they had to use immortal Gu to exchange for it, or collect enough immortal materials provided in the list to trade. All of the Gu immortals were shaken. Exchanging immortal Gu for immortal Gu was normal. It was also nearly the only way of transacting immortal Gu. But to think that this transaction could also be done using immortal materials, this was shocking and surprising that at once, the whole of Treasure Yellow Heaven went into chaos. Central Continent, Eastern Sea, Western Desert, Northern Plains, Southern Border, Gu immortals from all 5 regions revealed deep interest towards this immortal Gu, especially when they realized that the immortal materials on the list were not absurd. As long as they collected the immortal materials and exchanged for this immortal Gu, they would profit without fail. As time passed, a sudden immortal Gu transaction caused a huge commotion in Treasure Yellow Heaven. More and more Gu immortals heard about this and placed their attention here, asking for the price. The price was very fair. Countless Gu immortals were moved. Ing Wuxie smiled coldly as he saw this. The seller of the immortal Gu was none other than him. Immortal Gu were usually not sold because refining Gu was hard, and immortal Gu were unique. Even 100 portions of immortal materials might not successfully refine the Gu. But Ing Wuxie was forced to his wit's end. He had no choice but to choose to sell immortal Gu. He had immortal killer moves and immortal Gu recipes in his mind. They were all given to him by spectral souls while within the Red Lotus in the River of Time. Because the wool carried in spring-autumn cicada was limited, this information was chosen. Carefully, and given to Ying Wuxia. All of it was precious and had great value. He could not sell these. They were all useful in saving his main body. If they were sold, his secrets would be exposed. They could not be sold. He could not sell these things, and his cultivation resources had been exchanged for immortal materials, which were used up when refining fixed immortal travel. Then, Ying Wuxia had only one choice left. That was to sell immortal goo. He had quite a number of immortal goo. They were mostly from Fang Yuan. He was selling one of Fang Yuan's immortal goo, Iron Crown Eagle Strength GU. In the current goo immortal world. Even though Strength Path goo immortals were rare, this immortal goo still drew a lot of attention. Because its price was not high, many rank 6 goo immortals without immortal goo could bear the cost. As I expected, by selling this Iron Crown Eagle Strength goo first to cause a commotion, I can raise the prices later when I sell other immortal goo. Ying Wuxia snickered internally. Central Continent, Heavenly Court, Fairy Ziwei. Do you know about the situation in Treasure Yellow Heaven? Granny Sha used goo worms to transmit and ask Fairy Ziwei. Fairy Ziwei had been trying to deduce the location of Fang Yuan, but she did not know that Fang Yuan's soul and body were separated. Most of her deductions were focused on Ying Wuxia, who was closest to her. Fang Yuan was inside Langya Blessed Land, and they were separated by 2 regional walls. Her capability in deducing him was minimal. After getting Granny Sha's reminder, Fairy Ziwei smiled, stopping her deduction. Selling Iron Crown Eagle Strength Immortal Goo in Treasure Yellow Heaven? And he wants to use Space Path Immortal Goo like fixed immortal travel in exchange? It seems that Fang Yuan has been pushed into a corner. He has no choice but to do this. It is a pity. If it were anyone else, Treasure Yellow Heaven cannot be disrupted. But Heavenly Court is an exception. Open the treasury. I am going to make a transaction with Treasure Yellow Heaven's Heavenly Spirit. Treasure Yellow Heaven's Heavenly Spirit was extremely proud and rarely showed itself. It ignored even Heavenly Court and had once resigned itself to death rather than giving in to a venerable's threat, making them helpless. The huge Heavenly Court could not force Treasure Yellow Heaven to stop Ying Wuxia from making transactions. That was impossible. But Fairy Ziwei was very confident in this. Chapter 1072, New Shang Clan Leader. Southern Border, Shangliang Mountain. The sun was high in the sky, shining brilliantly. There were lots of people on Shangliang Mountain. The atmosphere was lively. Rank 4 Peak Stage Goo Master Shang Buli stood at the mountain peak, attracting almost everyone's attention. Even though Shang Buli was an experienced veteran, at this moment, he was feeling anxious, because right now was Shang Clan's ceremony. It had huge significance. All sorts of people were attending: Tai Clan, Yi Clan, Wu Clan, Ho Clan, and all the other representatives of Southern Border's super forces. Even experts from the demonic path and lone cultivators were here. The elites of Southern Border were all gathered for this. It was a grand event. Shang Clan was different from the other super forces. That was because of Shang Clan's battle stage policy. The other super forces' battle stages were meant for their clansmen, while Shang Clan's battle stage could also take in demonic cultivators and lone cultivators. Shang Clan's foundation was in trading. Its main base was Shangliang Mountain. Deals could be made with anyone. It was the biggest connector of the righteous path, demonic path, and lone cultivators. This was not just among the Goo Masters. The same applied to the Goo Immortal world. Shang Clan's Goo Immortals were usually the middlemen of righteous path and demonic path transactions. Seeing that Shang Buli appeared, the countless Goo Masters on Shangliang Mountain realized that this ceremony of Shang Clan was about to begin. The entirety of Shangliang Mountain became quiet. Shang Buli felt his pressure intensifying. He took in a deep breath. He forced himself to calm down as he declared loudly, "Shang Clan Leader's Succession Ceremony, begin." At the next moment, grand music was played. Countless birds and peacocks flew around. Golden flowers were raining down from the sky. It was a glorious scene. From the interior of Shangliang Mountain, a long clear rainbow road extended outwards. That a splendidly dressed girl walked on the clear rainbow road, appearing in front of everyone. She had silky jet black hair draping over her shoulders. Her eyebrows were thin like smoke, her eyes as clear as the moon. Her skin was snow white, and her hair was tied up. Wearing a beautiful dress, she walked slowly. It was Shang XNCI.at once. Countless Gu masters held their breaths. So beautiful. This is Shang clan's next clan leader? This woman is so beautiful. She is truly like a fairy. Who is she? Everyone was discussing and clamoring. But these noises were all drowned by the elegant music that was being played. The esteemed guests on the mountain peak from all the super forces, as well as experts from the demonic path and lone cultivators, were all looking at Shang Xinci as she walked in, transmitting their thoughts to each other. This woman is Shang Yanfei's illegitimate daughter. She does not have high reputation, her aptitude is low, and her cultivation level is also low. But in the end, she actually became Shang clan's new clan leader. Fate truly toys with people. Incredible, incredible. During the Battle of Etion Mountain, countless heroes and conquerors died. The forces in southern border were all heavily affected. Much of the power balance shifted. And Etion Mountain has also become among southern border's greatest mysteries after that battle. Shang Xinci slowly walked on the clear rainbow road. Under everyone's watchful gazes, her clothes fluttered in the air. She ascended slowly, walking towards the sky from Shangliang Mountain's peak. Clouds gathered in the sky. Light was shining brightly, gathering into a throne. Everyone raised their heads to watch. Shang Xinci had an unmatched and elegant disposition right now. Today, in Southern Border's Gu Master World, you are the sole main character. Shang Qing muttered. As a senior female immortal of Shang clan, she was the one who single-handedly supported Shang Xinci to become the leader of Shang clan. Shang Xinci became Shang clan leader in order to prevent any chaos. Shang Qing had concealed herself and watched in the background to control the situation. After the Battle of Etion Mountain, Southern Border has fallen into its biggest commotion in several hundred years. Can this girl really lead Shang clan and maintain stability, or even expand? Shang Tanimo asked. He had the appearance of a youth. He wore a blue robe and was skinny. He was looking at Shang Xinci with a deep gaze of doubt and inquisitiveness. Shang Qing smiled. All of the generations of clan leaders were nurtured through gaining experience. The reason why I chose Shang Xinci is not because of her ability, but her heart and magnanimity. Her characteristics are an advantage that gives her an unspeakable charisma. It is extremely rare in the current world. Look at the mountain peak. Her subordinates are all tearing up from joy. They are so loyal and trusting towards Shang Xinci. But actually, these people that she took in had varied backgrounds. They were a chaotic bunch, but now they are all on the same side. Oh, Shang Tanimo heard this and was moved. He knew that Shang Qing chose this girl to be the clan leader not just because of her personality, but because she had also made some observations and considerations over time. He followed Shang Qing's indication and looked down. To think that my lady would become Shang clan leader one day. Sob, sob, sob. Missy, we finally did it. Xiao Dai was weeping in happiness. She was Shang Xinci's trusted servant. When they were in Zhang clan, they were inseparable. She followed her in the caravan to Shang clan city. They had gone through thick and thin. Her loyalty was unmatched. Master, if you learn about this inside the door of life and death, you must be very happy. Young Miss is completely different from your other children. She can definitely give a new future to Shang clan. The servant Xiao Lan had teary eyes. She was an orphan, adopted by Shang Yanfei when she was young. She was capable and was given to Shang Xinci by Shang Yanfei. Now that Shang Yanfei died on Etion Mountain, her loyalty towards Shang Yanfei was all transferred to Shang Xinci. Zhou Quan was silent. He was Zhou clan's leader. He had an arrogant attitude and thought highly of himself. After Zhou clan was destroyed, he was a vagrant, surviving by opening a shop in Shang clan inner city. Afterwards, Fang Yuan forced him to go under Shang Xinci as a subordinate. Seeing that Shang Xinci was sitting down on the cloud throne, Zhou Quan's gaze was in a dazed it this moment. He thought of Fang Yuan. A complex smile appeared on his face. Black and white demons, should I be thanking you? Now that the young miss is Shang clan leader, my Zhou clan has hoped to rise up again. But soon, Zhou Quan thought again. No, reviving the clan will have to wait. Even though the young miss is a clan leader, the internal threats are huge. Her situation is not stable. How can I leave her now when she needs the help of her subordinates the most? Zhou Quan was not overwhelmed by this huge ceremony that he looked around at Shangbu Li and Wan Qianshan. When Shang Yanfei was Shang clan leader, he had 5 capable subordinates. They were called the 5 great generals of Shang clan. After the Battle of Yitian Mountain, among the 5 great generals of Shang clan, only 2 were left. They were Shangbu Li and Wan Qianshan. The former controlled Shang clan's slave trade, while the latter was in charge of resource gathering, like mining, herb gathering, hunting, and others. The one with Shang's surname was the representative of Shang clan. The other with Wan's surname was an external elder. He represented the benefits of Shang clan's external Gu masters. With these 2 experts, young Miss' internal situation in Shang clan is truly bad. She is weak, while they are strong. There is even a possibility that they could make her a puppet leader by taking over secretly. Young Miss' status makes her unable to obtain the support of every clansman. She is an illegitimate daughter after all. The internal problems are alarming, but the external problems are worse. Danger is lurking everywhere. In the Battle of Yitian Mountain, too many leaders and experts died. Everything is changing. Resources without owners are being contested for again. Young Miss has too few resources available, be it human resources or actual goods, compared to her siblings. And she also has to deal with affairs outside the clan. And at this critical moment, Lady Wei is leaving her too. Thinking of this, Zhou Quan looked at the female Gu master beside him. Wei Da Exine, feeling very unhappy that he was the chief steward of Shang Exine CI. He knew a lot of information. Wei Da Exine was the wife of Wei clan leader. She was skilled at training guards and was pregnant. Her motive was to protect her husband's only bloodline. Because Fang Yuan targeted her weakness, threatening her, she eventually went over to Shang Xine's side and helped her nurture a band of elite guards. At the same time, she became the leader of Shang Xine's guards. But now, she had already given birth. She had successfully carried on her husband's bloodline. Because she was always out in the open, her brother Wei Xinjing found out. He sent a letter and urged Wei Da Exine to go and serve Wu clan with him. Wei Da Exine was moved. After all, she was not loyal to Shang Xine. She was threatened by Fang Yuan and had no choice back then. But Zhou Quan did not know that. While he was worrying about the situation, Wei Da Exine was also very worried. Zhou Quan was once the leader of a clan. He had a good perspective of the big picture. Wei Da Exine was the same. She was a clan leader's wife. She could see further than Xiao Lan and Xiao Dai. Shang Yanfei is already dead. My enmity with Shang clan has faded. Even though I was forced by the Black Demon back then, and had to serve the young miss, after this long period of time, I have come to understand her. Young miss is a good person. There are too few good people in this world. Little brother, I will have to disappoint you. I cannot go to help you. You are a hidden elder in Wu clan. Even though you are ostracized, your life is safe. But here with young miss, danger lurks everywhere. Wei Da Exine sighed internally, but no matter what, as the young miss steward, I need to think for her sake. Right now, she needs manpower. The 3 demonic path brothers, Xiong Tu, Xiong Hua, and Xiong Feng, must stay. We cannot let them leave. Zhou Quan looked at 3 people as brilliance flashed in his eyes. No matter what, as the young miss personal guard, I need to think in her interests. Shang Yanfei is dead. Shang clan only has 2 generals left. We need to prevent them from making her a figurehead. We need to draw in new blood. Xiaoyan is a great choice. Not only does he have outstanding battle strength, he idolizes Wei Yang. Because of the black and white demons, Wei Yang had a good relationship with young miss, and Xiaoyan was also close to them. Wei Da Exine looked at Xiaoyan, who was among the crowd as she planned "I in the sky." Shang Xnci began to speak publicly for the first time. Her speech was succinct, but there was deep meaning in it. People were pondering over it. This was not prepared by her, of course. Wei Da Exine and Zhou Quan had written her script. After the speech ended, a huge wave of applause and cheers erupted. Shang Xinci slowly left the center of attention. But the succession ceremony was not over yet. What followed would be a day and night of celebration, wine and food with songs playing, to sweep away the sadness and dejection from all the heroes' deaths. After vanishing from the sky, Shang Xinci directly appeared in the inner city's mansion. So tired, with no one watching her, she relaxed as she felt deep fatigue in her mind. But she knew that now was not the time to rest. She used her goo worms to summon her aides: Xiaolan, Xiaodai, Weida Xin, Zhou Quan, Xiong Tu, Xiong Hua, and Xiong Feng. Shang Xinci had arrangements to make. Yi Fan walked on the road. His eyes were shining brilliantly. He walked with an imposing aura. Ever since he defended Shang Xinci while refusing to retreat in danger, he obtained the female immortal Shang Qingqing's approval. He was given a superb inheritance and many goo worms. Yi Fan was troubled because he had no cultivation guidance. After getting this inheritance, his horizons expanded. He no longer lacked goo worms. His future was bright. He was considered Shang Xinci's life benefactor. He could enter her mansion without anyone stopping him. To think that Lady Xinci became Shang clan leader, but it will not be easy as a clan leader, not to mention the leader of Shang clan. How can Yi Fan, abandon her? Thinking of Shang Xinci, Yi Fan's heart beat quickly. He was developing feelings for Shang Xinci, but he did not know what she felt about him. But he knew that Shang Xinci was inside her mansion. He came without an invitation. Close. He was close. The final door was right in front of him. He could see Lady Xinci again. Yi Fan's footsteps became faster. He stood at the door. He straightened his back as he patted his clothes. He was about to knock. He heard Shang Xinci voice from inside. Everyone, listen to me. After becoming clan leader, there is one thing I want to do first. This has been weighing in my heart for a long time. I want to use Shang clan's power to remove Black Demon, Brother Fang Zhang's arrest warrant. Of course, that includes Sister White Demon as well. Yi Fan was dazed. His finger that was going to knock on the door froze in the air. Shang Xinci was talking to her subordinates, while Shang Qingqing and the other goo immortals were discussing southern borders matters in Living Treasure Blessed Land. Living Treasure Blessed Land was Shang clan's public blessed land, their base camp. It was situated in the main world of southern border. It was very stable and could allow goo immortals to go in. The door of this blessed land was the living treasure. Door, its favorite activity was digging its nose. The Battle of Etion Mountain has ended. Southern Border's goo immortal world will be in turmoil and unrest for the next few decades. Shang clan's first supreme elder spoke. He looked around, continuing. Right now, our clan has 3 matters. First, zombie alliance have vanished mysteriously over the 5 regions. The same goes for Southern Border's zombie alliance branch. They occupied many resources. Shang clan can take them over. Second, Etion Mountain has been covered by the giant dream realm. Us Righteous Path forces are joining up and blockading this place, doing research while preventing demonic path or lone immortals in. Third, Etion Mountain's shocking gambling contest ended without result, but there are huge amounts of cultivation resources left inside Treasure Yellow Heaven. The sole participant of this gambling contest who is still alive, Goo Immortal Gualao, is the only person to inherit the resources. We have to take control of him. Shang clan's goo immortals all nodded. The 3 matters mentioned by First Supreme Elder were the biggest matters in Southern Border's goo immortal world now. Countless people were concerned. I have been paying attention to Treasure Yellow Heaven. To speak the truth, Shang Qingqing was about to speak, when suddenly her expression changed. She said in shock, "What happened?" Treasure Yellow Heaven closed. Chapter 1073. Wisdom is hard to use. Treasure Yellow Heaven came from Taoist Countless Treasures. In the medieval antiquity era, a rank 8 goo immortal, known as Taoist Countless Treasures, acquired a fragment of Yellow Heaven by chance. He fused the fragment into his grotto heaven and formed Treasure Yellow Heaven. After a goo immortal's immortal aperture absorbs a fragment of the immemorial 9 heavens, it would be placed in the outside world of the 5 regions and could not be moved anymore. Treasure Yellow Heaven was the same. Ever since it was placed in its location 300,000 years ago, it had not moved. But where was Treasure Yellow Heaven's exact location? This was a huge mystery. People did not know. Wisdom Path goo immortals had tried to deduce it over the years without finding the answer. Treasure Yellow Heaven's original owner was Taoist Countless Treasures. After him, there were no successors. Even the many immortal venerables and demon venerables could not find the exact location of Treasure Yellow Heaven. Treasure Yellow Heaven has existed until today. It is the #1 open market in the 5 regions Gu Immortal world. Why did it close suddenly? Shang clan's Gu Immortals were shocked and suspicious. Ever since Taoist countless treasures created treasure Yellow Heaven, it had been open for 300,000 years. It had unknowingly become the biggest help towards Gu Immortal's cultivation. It had an important place in the mind of every Gu Immortal. For the longest time, Gu Immortals had gotten used to the existence of treasure Yellow Heaven. Now that it was closed, everyone was caught off guard. Why do you think that treasure Yellow Heaven closed suddenly? Oh no, we are after the resources gambled in Etion Mountain. Now that it is closed, that huge bed is stuck in treasure Yellow Heaven. Don't tell me, treasure Yellow Heaven's heavenly spirit is trying to steal this huge amount. Shang clan's first supreme elder shook his head. He denied that idea. Treasure Yellow Heaven's heavenly spirit does not care about that bed. If it was corrupt, treasure Yellow Heaven would not have its reputation and status. There had never been a case of corruption in treasure Yellow Heaven in history. But regarding the closing of treasure Yellow Heaven, there have been a few instances. Is that so? We would like to know. Shang Qing quickly asked. Shang clan's first supreme elder spoke slowly, revealing a secret that yes, it turned out. There were some instances recorded of treasure Yellow Heaven closing in history. They were due to the same reason. It involved fragments of immemorial Yellow Heaven. The immemorial 9 heavens were red, orange, yellow, green, azure, blue, purple, white, and black. Right now, only white heaven and black heaven remained. Yellow Heaven had shattered long ago. Back then, Taoist countless treasures knew that he could not survive a coming tribulation. He used his own immortal aperture to absorb a small fragment world of immemorial Yellow Heaven, forming treasure Yellow Heaven. Even though he was trapped inside treasure Yellow Heaven and lost his freedom, he no longer faced any tribulations. After treasure Yellow Heaven absorbed the immemorial Yellow Heaven fragment, it could only continue to expand by absorbing other Yellow Heaven fragments. There were several transactions recorded in history. Certain people had sold a fragment world of immemorial Yellow Heaven to treasure Yellow Heaven's heavenly spirit. After the heavenly spirit obtained it, it closed treasure Yellow Heaven and focused on absorbing the Yellow Heaven fragment to expand itself. This time, if there are no unexpected surprises, should also be this case. Shang clan first supreme elder finally surmised. He was right that in this world, it might be that the only thing that could move treasure Yellow Heaven's heavenly spirit were Yellow Heaven fragments. The immemorial 9 heavens had shattered long ago. Yellow Heaven fragments were nearly non-existent at this point. Only those with immense luck and opportunities could obtain them. But Heavenly Court had a long history. Its treasury was beyond imagination. It could take out a fragment of immemorial Yellow Heaven, and the size was quite large too. If the amount was little, treasure Yellow Heaven's heavenly spirit would not need to close treasure Yellow Heaven. It could absorb the fragment easily. Now, treasure Yellow Heaven closed. The Yellow Heaven fragment had to be so huge that the heavenly spirit had no choice but to focus entirely on the absorption. Treasure Yellow Heaven had been impartial all along. It did not side with anyone. It was mysterious, and Heavenly Court could do nothing to it. If Heavenly Court asked the Heavenly Spirit to reject Ing Wu Xie's transactions openly, the Heavenly Spirit would not respond to them, and Gu Immortals from the other 4 regions would not care either. With the 5 regional walls, Heavenly Court's influence and control was mostly limited to Central Continent. But Heavenly Court was extremely affluent. It tossed out one large Yellow Heaven fragment. This way, Ing Wu Xie's plan to save himself was thwarted. Damn it. Heavenly Court actually did this. Ing Wu Xie's face was ruthless. He clenched his fists. Veins were popping. He was gritting his teeth until a grinding sound could be heard. He was furious. But with the heavy-handed method used by Heavenly Court, he could not do anything but watch helplessly. Suddenly, Ing Wu Xie felt a rush of blood as he spat it out, falling backwards. Hatred and anger filled his heart. Other than that, he also felt bone-chilling coldness. Heavenly Court directly sold the Yellow Heaven fragment cheaply. They were paying such a huge price to eliminate Ing Wu Xie. This showed their firm determination in this aspect that it was a desperate situation. Heavenly Court's move had blocked Ing Wu Xie's final way out. They were too ruthless. Without treasure Yellow Heaven, Even if Feng Yuan wanted to sell immortal goo, they were stuck with him. And even more disgustingly, his immortal goo Iron Crown Eagle strength was still stuck inside. Without the immortal materials from transactions, how can he continue to refine goo? One couldn't cook a meal without the ingredients. Without immortal goo, how could he get out of this situation? Treasure Yellow Heaven closed. The heavenly spirit was absorbing the yellow heaven fragment. This was not going to end quickly. In history, the shortest period was just over 2 months. There was no way out. He could only allow Heavenly Court to deduce while he and the rest defended and stalled for time. Until finally, strong foes came to find them personally, and they failed to resist them. Langya blessed land. Fang Yuan's appearance had changed. He became an immortal zombie again that he had once modified Nirvana Fire and created a strength path immortal killer move to alternate between life and death. He could be a living goo immortal or a dead immortal zombie. But now, he was not using this method. His strength path immortal goo were all lost. He could not use that strength path killer move. Fang Yuan's plan was simple. His soul flew out and left his body, entering the corpse of a strength path immortal zombie. The corpses of these strength path immortal zombies came from blazing heaven demonis. After rebirth, Fang Yuan had still asked for these to make preparation for the life and death immortal aperture as a failsafe. He had obtained many strength path immortal zombies from blazing heaven demonis. These bodies were all placed in star form blessed land. After Etion Mountain, he had gotten them back from Langya Land Spirit. Other than these immortal zombie bodies, there were also large amounts of precious immortal materials. Most of the quasi-rank 9 immortal materials were obtained from the goo formation in Earth Trench. Some of the rank 7 and 8 immortal materials were picked up from Falling Heavenly River. He had benefited greatly from Bo Qing's awakening. When his sword lights traversed Central Continent, Fang Yuan did not have much immortal essence or immortal essence stones, but he did not lack goo refinement materials. But the value of these immortal materials were too high. It was inappropriate to use them now. Immortal materials were not the key point. Wisdom goo was more important. Fang Yuan was staring at wisdom goo for a long time, but it did not move at all, let alone emit the light of wisdom. Using other immortal zombie bodies in place of myself did not work. I cannot draw out the light of wisdom. Fang Yuan was not surprised at this. He had already made similar experiments long ago in Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Wisdom goo had never been refined by Fang Yuan. He had only made an agreement with it back then because of the winds of assimilation. Survival was the instinct of all living beings. But wisdom goo seemed to only respond to Fang Yuan as a whole. His body and soul were both needed to draw out the light of wisdom. If one was missing, if he only had his soul and not his body, it would not work. That means the most direct way is to just take back my original body. Fang Yuan thought. His original body was still an immortal zombie. There was no need to change anything. It was suitable to bathe in the light of wisdom. But this method, although it would work, was impractical. Wuxia has already vanished. He could possibly have spring-autumn cicada, fixed immortal travel, and other immortal goo. Other than that, He Lulan and Tai by Yunsheng might be helping him. Earlier, Fang Yuan had no time because of the calamity. Now, every time he thought about the problem called Wuxia, he felt a deep headache. Thus, I all the more need to refine Fang Zheng into a blood deity. Fang Yuan's current body was created from sovereign immortal fetus goo. He had no parents. He had no bloodline relationship to anything in this world. But Fang Yuan still wanted to refine Fang Zheng into a blood deity. The blood deity refined using Fang Zheng could counter Fang Yuan's body. Even if the immortal zombie body could not be taken back later, Fang Yuan could use the base of Fang Zheng's blood deity to modify it. Or possibly, he could combine it with his soul to regain wisdom goo's acknowledgement. Of course, this was purely Fang Yuan's intuition, but intuition was not to be underestimated, especially when Fang Yuan's blood path attainment level was at Grandmaster level. When Fang Yuan was testing wisdom goo, Langya Land Spirit was also observing. Seeing the results, he sighed and felt much regret. Fang Yuan looked towards Langya Land Spirit in concerned fashion. Does First Supreme Elder have any methods to use wisdom goo? Langya Land Spirit stared at Fang Yuan, replying petulantly. The simplest method is to raise your cultivation level to rank 9 and directly refined this wisdom goo. Fang Yuan smiled bitterly. I know this method too. I am asking if there are other methods? Sigh, there is a method that isn't a method. I can feed it with lifespan goo continuously. After feeding it for some time, I might obtain wisdom goo's acknowledgement. If this method works, wisdom goo would be mine. By then, you would have to give it to me no matter what. Langya Land Spirit thought about it and smiled to himself. Fang Yuan's eyes drooped. Is it really fine to directly say it? You think I want to? Langya Land Spirit was stomping his feet. Land spirits cannot lie. Damn it. Why did I tell you about my motives again? You accursed fellow. Chapter 1074, Spy Exposed. Fang Yuan shook his head, sighing. The price of feeding wisdom goo was too high. Only Langya Land Spirit was willing to pay it. Fang Yuan used sovereign immortal fetus goo to revive. His age was about 16 now. Humans in this world lived 100 years on average. That meant that Fang Yuan had about 84 years of lifespan left. It was a long time. But even so, Fang Yuan knew that if he obtained lifespan goo, he would use them all on himself. Even if he did not use them, he would save them for the future in case of emergencies. Lifespan goo were mortal goo, but lifespan goo were among the strongest forms of currency in goo immortal transactions. Almost nothing could compare. There were two obstacles in a goo immortal's cultivation. One was calamities and tribulations, the other was lifespan. Even if one was as strong as an immortal venerable or demon venerable, they would still be challenged by these two problems. In fact, back then when Giant Sun Immortal Venerable set up 88 True Yang building, one of his most important goals was to ransack the lifespan goo in the whole of northern plains to extend his lifespan. As for feeding wisdom goo, it was secondary. During Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's later years, for a long period of time, wisdom goo was in constant hunger. It had to go into deep sleep and could not be used. Later, when Spectral Soul Demon Venerable explored 88 True Yang building, he also found wisdom goo. But he could not use it, or afford to feed it. Lifespan goo were hard to find. He did not have enough for himself. However, with his soul path attainment level, he could make use of aspects of other paths using his own as a foundation. He did not have much need for wisdom goo anyway. After Spectral Soul Demon Venerable died, his era ended. Thereafter, the world started to produce lifespan goo again. And after that, another huge figure appeared in the world. That was Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. He had already searched for lifespan goo during his later years, but lifespan goo's demand far exceeded the supply. It became rarer until it vanished. After Paradise Earth died, a new cycle started as the world recuperated. Lifespan goo appeared again. Every 10 years, 88 True Yang building conducted the Imperial Court contest, ransacking Northern Plains lifespan goo. Wisdom goo was slowly fed and recuperated, until Fang Yuan destroyed Imperial Court Blessed Land. And later, due to its survival instincts, wisdom goo left with Fang Yuan and went to Hu Immortal Blessed Land. After a long series of events, it ended up in Langya Blessed Land now. During Three Kings Blessed Land, I used 2 lifespan goo to refine second aperture goo. But that could not be helped. In this life, I had obtained a lifespan goo from Blazing Heaven Demonis. But after rebirth, I lost this opportunity and have no lifespan goo with me now. Since Blazing Heaven Demonis could give me a lifespan goo, she definitely had more than one in her possession. But she died in the 10 extreme formation. Her lifespan goo were also destroyed. No. Fang Yuan thought as he recalled something. Lifespan goo is hard to find. Even an immortal venerable or demon venerable would need and desire it. Blazing Heaven Demonis was plotted against by Spectral Soul and died. Her accumulated wealth must have been taken by Spectral Soul already. Even though Spectral Soul's plan failed, the remnant forces of Shadow Sect and Zombie Alliance remain. Their wealth is still immense. As for Langya Land Spirit, he also had a number of lifespan goo. It was quite the sum. These lifespan goo were all produced inside Langya Blessed Land. Langya Blessed Land had a long history of over 300,000 years. It had lived through the era of 2 venerables. Langya Blessed Land was originally Langya Grotto Heaven. It had an incredibly huge space. After intentionally being dropped to a blessed land, because Refinement Cauldron was fused into the immortal aperture world, Langya Blessed Land space increased instead. It was larger than even many grotto heavens. There were an immense number of hairy men living here. They were split into 3 countries. The life forms in here procreated and had generations after generations of offspring. Lifespan goo was produced from life forms. Wherever life forms lived, lifespan goo could be naturally produced. With a huge space, countless inhabitants, and a long history, together with Langya land spirit's absolute control over the blessed land, whenever a lifespan goo appeared, he could collect it immediately. With all these reasons, Langya land spirit's lifespan goo accumulation increased continuously. Fang Yuan did not know the exact number, but he could easily guess that the number was not small. Ordinary goo immortals would need lifespan goo, but Langya land spirit did not. Activating wisdom goo requires the goo immortal's lifespan to be expended. And feeding wisdom goo also requires lifespan goo. For now, I should let Langya land spirit feed it. Fang Yuan knew about Langya land spirit's motives even without any probing. This could not be helped. Fang Yuan had no lifespan goo. He could not feed it. He was in deep trouble himself. When goo immortals went through tribulations, they become stronger and stronger each time. Fang Yuan was worried about the next earthly calamity. He had no time to care about wisdom goo. Ever since wisdom goo was brought away by him, Fang Yuan had not fed it once. The truth was, Langya land spirit was helping Fang Yuan. In any case, even if wisdom goo acknowledges Langya land spirit, it is a good thing. With my current status, I can use Langya land spirit's methods to use wisdom goo. I will only need to pay some sect contribution points. All goo worms were tools. All of his hard work was targeted towards that illusory goal. For this goal, Fang Yuan had given up too much. There was nothing he could not discard. The experiment with wisdom goo ended in failure, but Fang Yuan felt no disappointment. Before leaving, he asked for one thing from Langya land spirit, an information path mortal goo that recorded the scene of when he refined change form immortal goo. This goo refinement was very strange. The tribulations became so strong. We were lucky that we succeeded. Fang Yuan, if you find out anything, you have to tell me. Langya land spirit instructed Fang Yuan before he left. First Supreme Elder did not manage to find out anything. Neither could I. I will do my best. Fang Yuan answered. He had a vague guess that the tribulations gained strength due to the sovereign immortal fetus goo. But he would not tell Langya land spirit this guess no matter what. Other than researching the tribulations, Fang Yuan had another goal. He wanted to investigate Langya's sect and see if there were any traitors left. All along, Fang Yuan had been mindful of this. Shadow sect had sent 2 traitors into Langya blessed land, unexpectedly having hairy man goo immortals. When Shadow sect attacked Langya blessed land, these 2 spies played an important role. But other than them, are there other spies in Langya's sect? This problem was extremely important to Fang Yuan. After all, he had already joined Langya's sect. For a long time in the future, he would need to depend on Langya land spirit to undergo tribulations and cultivate. He had just started this investigation. He did not have the time or energy until now. After flying for some time, Fang Yuan was already close to his new accommodations. This was a grand city. Pure white city walls stood up proudly. At the peak of tall towers, flags were hanging. This was a cloud city on cloud cover continent. There were 12 cloud cities. Each of the cities was a mortal goo house. When activated together, they could form the 12-wave cloud confusion formation. It could cover the entirety of cloud cover continent. These 12 cloud cities were created from the former 12 cloud buildings. The current Langya land spirit liked grand appearances. He was different from the previous one that the cloud city in Fang Yuan's vision was given by Langya land spirit, to be the place where he defended and lived. The other hairy man goo immortals, including Langya land spirit himself, each occupied one cloud city. There were few residents in the city, but soon there would be more and more. Because in Langya land spirit's plan, he was going to trigger a war between the 3 continents and pick outstanding goo masters, moving them to cloud cover continent for nurturing. Fang Yuan flew down to the cloud city and landed. Several hairy man goo masters quickly welcomed him. They were elite hairy man goo masters. They were chosen by Langya land spirit and sent to Fang Yuan. On one aspect, they were to take care of Fang Yuan's daily affairs, but there was also the intention for them to receive Fang Yuan's guidance and cultivation. Fang Yuan was not concerned about these hairy men. But the leader of the hairy man-gu masters respectfully told Fang Yuan that the sixth city lord has visited Fang Yuan. He had already been in the guest room for a long time already. The sixth city lord was Gu Immortal's sixth hair. He was guarding the sixth cloud city. Why is he here? Fang Yuan felt uncertain. He came to the guest room and met with this Gu Immortal, sixth hair. I am sixth hair. Greetings to second city lord. I am here today to seek guidance from you regarding combat. Sixth hair paid his respects as he said this. Fang Yuan's expression did not change, but his gaze had turned ice-cold. As it turned out, although sixth hair said that out loud, he was secretly transmitting a different message to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan, I am here representing Lord Ing Wuxie to make a deal with you. Ing Wuxie, Shadow Sect, sixth hair was the spy. At once countless thoughts flashed across Fang Yuan's mind like lightning. Too polite, too polite. We are all from the same sect. Don't talk about guidance. We can definitely spar. Fang Yuan smiled as he showed a warm expression that he first moved away and invited sixth hair to sit down, before getting to his own seat. These few steps were not far, but countless thoughts flashed in Fang Yuan's mind. Sixth hair is the spy. Is he the only spy in Langya Blessed Land? He is representing Ing Wuxie to make a deal. What transaction does he want? Over on Ing Wuxie's end, what is going on? He wants a transaction? Is he sincere? Is this a trap? Is this Langya land spirits probing? After all, I joined Langya sect and have an information path alliance agreement on me. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan sat down. His expression changed. His eyes were sharp like daggers. He looked at sixth hair with deep killing intent. He transmitted coldly. Sixth hair, what guts? Is what you just said true? If it is true, I will hand you over to First Supreme Elder for judgment. Chapter 1075. Simple words can turn a snake into a dragon. Sixth hair looked at Fang Yuan as he laughed, feeling no fear that if he wanted to snitch, Fang Yuan would have attacked the moment sixth hair exposed himself. But Fang Yuan did not. He sat down and said some empty threats that he asked for the reason. Sixth hair knew clearly. He said, I was originally in charge of the 12 cloud cities. Before you came here, I had already set up an immortal Gu formation. Not only can it conceal us to prevent Langya land spirit from finding out, it can also suppress the alliance agreement. You can test it out. Fang Yuan had joined Langya sect. He was bound by the alliance agreement and could not act freely. Especially when talking with the spy Sixth Hair, it was against the alliance agreement. But hearing Sixth Hair's words, Fang Yuan tested it. As expected, there was no backlash from breaking some small alliance agreement rules. Fang Yuan's gaze was deep. He said after a while, It seems you are indeed a spy in Langya sect. What transaction do you want? Sixth Hair felt great relief. He was afraid that Fang Yuan would take him down without any further discussion. The first hurdle had been passed already. However, he could not be careless. Fang Yuan was unscrupulous and shameless. He was a devious person with no bottom line. Even though he took a risk and exposed his own identity, danger was still extremely high. There was no choice. Ing Wuxie was out of ideas over there. He could only try this. Having a transaction with Fang Yuan was the same as plotting with a tiger. It was too dangerous. Only after the transaction was over and the evidence was firm, they would be tied together and he would have a hold on him. By then, Sixth Hair would be safe. But how could he achieve his aims without losing too many benefits? Sixth Hair felt troubled. He was on the weaker side now. Ing Wuxie and I have deep enmity. They are suddenly approaching me and even exposed their spy's identity. They have something to ask of me. Interesting. I want to see what he is up to. Fang Yuan had such a thought in his mind. To speak the truth, Lord Ing Wuxie has already reached a desperate situation. His survival is at stake. Otherwise, I would not have appeared to talk to you. Sixth Hair said, Oh. Fang Yuan's brows rose. He looked at the other party again. Sixth Hair was so honest. Fang Yuan felt shocked internally. Why would one expose their own weaknesses before the deal? Fang Yuan's eyes shined. He sensed the ingenuity of Sixth Hair's purposeful reveal. Even if Sixth Hair did not say it, Fang Yuan would have noticed. By saying it, he could show that this was a last-ditch attempt that was filled with determination. It seems that after interacting with Langya land spirit for a long time, I have let down my guard. Even though the other party is a hairy man, he is a spy from Shadow Sect. How can he be as simple and easy to bully as a land spirit? Fang Yuan raised his alertness. Thinking about it, Fang Yuan spoke slowly and calmly. Wuxia has all of the accumulated goo worms in my body. He even has the help of Tai by Yun Sheng and He Lu Lan. How can he reach such a stage? I refuse to believe it. Sixth Hair shook his head. Fang Yuan, why the need to probe further? You set up the special will and caused your goo worms to self-detonate. You really gave Lord Wuxia a huge surprise. He tried to preserve the goo worms, but only 30% remain. Once he said that, Fang Yuan was fully certain that Sixth Hair was a spy lurking inside Langya's sect sent by Shadow Sect. Fang Yuan's thoughts churned. His words earlier were not completely true. After Sixth Hair answered him, he obtained a lot of precious information. To think that Wuxia is really controlling He and Bai. He Lu Lan is a formidable person. She was not easy to control, but after her aunts died, it is much easier to deal with her. She has the great strength, true martial physique. If used well, she is an excellent pawn. And Tai Bai Yun Sheng is a kind man. Even though he is hesitant and timid, he has two-time path immortal goo. He can help out a lot. To think that they are both controlled by Wuxia, what a shame. Fang Yuan sighed internally. Fate worked in mysterious ways. After the Battle of Etion Mountain, he and Wuxia had swapped places. He obtained sovereign immortal fetus goo, while Wuxia obtained his accumulated wealth. He was able to use He Lu Lan and Tai by Yun Sheng. As a split soul of spectral soul demon venerable, he had incredible methods to keep these two under control. Wuxia has my immortal goo and He and Bai to help him. Now, he is initiating a transaction with me. I just make him pay a high price. Fang Yuan thought to himself harshly. However, next, after Sixth Hair exposed their weakness, he changed his words. Before the deal, let me show you our sincerity. Think of this as free intel. This intel is extremely important. It concerns your future cultivation greatly, or more accurately, it has to do with your life and death. Fang Yuan snorted. He said coldly, you do not need to brag about the value of the intel. I can assess it myself when I see it. Fang Yuan, do you know what Heaven's will is? Sixth Hair asked. Heaven's will? Fang Yuan asked in confusion. Sixth Hair looked at his expression before nodding in understandment, saying, you indeed forgot a lot of things, Fang Yuan. What do you mean? Fang Yuan's brows rose slightly. Sixth Hair said, you had once used Heaven's will's guidance to swap souls with Lord Wuxia, disguised as the pure dream reality seeker physique, and finally taking away sovereign immortal fetus goo. But what you did not know was, this 11th extreme physique was created by Old Man Yanshi. It had a huge flaw. Any soul which resides in the pure dream reality seeker physique body will fall into deep sleep and lose its memories. Even though Old Man Yanshi tried to remove the weakness, he only eliminated the weakness of falling asleep. The pure dream reality seeker physique still caused the soul to lose memories continuously. As time passed, more memories would be lost. Precisely because of this, Lord Wuxia was constantly losing memories and could only use the immortal killer move lead soul into dream. Saying this, Sixth Hair took out an information path mortal goo. He moved this goo around with his finger as he sighed internally. This goo worm has little to no value to him. But to Fang Yuan, it was immensely valuable. If not for the situation, why would he pass this to Fang Yuan? In Wuxia's original plan, he was going to use this weakness of Fang Yuan to deal with him. To think that there would be a time where he personally helped Fang Yuan fix this flaw. This letter goo records the details before and after Etion Mountain. Take a look. Sixth Hair said as he tossed the goo worm to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan received it and inspected it. There were no problems. He activated the goo worm, and the scenes of Etion Mountain appeared in his mind. He found that he was indeed lacking many crucial memories. No wonder I have been feeling something weird, but I did not know what. I lost my memories. This was true amnesia. By completely losing one's memories, they could not realize it themselves. If they knew that they forgot something, that would not be true amnesia. They could still remember it eventually. However, the scenes in the information path mortal goo gave Fang Yuan a familiar feeling. Of course, there was still a chance that they were deceiving him. After checking it several times, Fang Yuan had a calm expression. His gaze was deep as he said, I seem to have lost my memories. But how can I know that this is real? This can possibly be made up too. Sixth Hair gritted his teeth that he knew that this was the hard part of this transaction. Fang Yuan and Ing Wuxia were enemies. They had deep enmity. There was little trust between them. The problem was how to express his sincerity and make Fang Yuan believe them that if this problem was tackled, the transaction would proceed smoothly. Sixth Hair's thoughts moved rapidly, colliding continuously in his mind. He was considering his words carefully. He had to, because Fang Yuan could kill someone without even blinking. If he said something wrong, so be it if he died, but Ing Wuxia had the mission to save his main body. This could not fail. After a long time, Sixth Hair spoke. Fang Yuan, you possess spring-autumn cicada. You have experienced rebirth. Everyone knows this. But the truth is, even if you have many secrets, you have less of a clear understanding than us. Heaven's will is vast. It is everywhere, all over the 5 regions and 9 heavens. It spans across the past, present, and future. The way of heaven is to take away surpluses while replenishing deficits. It emphasizes on balance. And the way of humans is exactly the opposite. It is to reduce the deficits and build up the surpluses. The two are complete opposites, and they are in conflict with each other. Thus, the previous venerables and any legendary figures are the targets of heaven's will suppression. Calamities and tribulations, lifespan goo, they are 2 of heaven's will's trump cards. Fang Yuan, you have experienced 2 tribulations already. One was the earthly calamity, and the other was the creation of an immortal goo. The 2 of them had incredible power beyond reason. It was because you had revived using sovereign immortal fetus goo, and your new body and immortal aperture have unlimited potential. Once you grow, you will surpass previous venerables. Because of this, heavens will feels extremely wary of you and wants to kill you before you grow any further. Fang Yuan's heart shook. Since the tribulations, he had been considering this question. And now, Sixth Hair gave him the answer. Heaven's will. Fang Yuan muttered internally, thinking about this phrase. Sixth Hair sighed. He continued. My main body, spectral soul, created shadow sect, zombie alliance, and refined sovereign immortal fetus, preparing for 100,000 years, ending up in failure. This is the work of heaven's will. Not only were there grand tribulations and myriad tribulations, we even had to face countless enemies. Heavenly Court with Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord as the leader was its representative. And you, Fang Yuan, were the hidden assassin of our human tribulation. What do you mean? Fang Yuan squinted as his eyes shone. He felt deep interest. He could acutely sense that Sixth Hair's words were going to cause a huge transformation in his situation. Sixth Hair hesitated. He knew. Once he said the following words, Fang Yuan's greatest weakness of not knowing heaven's will would be fixed. In fact, it might even cause Fang Yuan's uncontrollable rise to the top. Fang Yuan was like a python stuck in the swamp now. This python's eyes were covered by a black cloth. It did not know its directions. It was rolling around in the mud. But once the information was given to Fang Yuan, the python's cloth would be removed. Its vision would return. It would be able to see the huge world and realize that the swamp trapping it was very tiny. With an accurate direction, knowing its circumstances, the python would raise its head towards the sky. It would cause huge storms. It would even become a dragon and roam the world freely. These might just be some words, but to Fang Yuan, they were a qualitative transformation. The value was immeasurable.